Jewish noises!
In a dense, forgotten jungle, there lived a monkey named Babu. He was unlike the other monkeys, who swung joyously from trees, chattered with delight, and seemed to find endless satisfaction in their simple lives. Babu, however, was plagued by an overwhelming sense of despair. Each day he would drink fermented fruit until he could barely stand, drowning himself in the numbing fog of intoxication. No matter how much he drank, the gnawing emptiness within him persisted. Babu often gazed into the distance, wondering why he existed at all. What was the point of his life? He had no grand purpose, no meaning, no joy. As Schopenhauer might say, he felt trapped in the cycle of suffering inherent in life, a slave to the blind, aimless will that seemed to govern all living things. His heart, heavy with existential dread, longed for escape, yet the numbness of drink only provided fleeting relief. His life seemed like an absurd joke, one he was too exhausted to laugh at. One fateful night, in a stupor, Babu overheard the ancient tale of the will to power from an elder baboon. This idea that one's suffering could be overcome not by escaping life, but by mastering it, bending the world to one's will, fascinated Babu. Something in him stirred, something primal. The teachings of Schopenhauer had left him drowning in the futility of existence, but now a new fire ignited within him. Perhaps power itself was the meaning he'd been searching for. Determined, Babu discarded the fermented fruit and began to gather an army of loyal monkeys. He trained himself to harness his physical and mental strength, slowly becoming a ruthless leader. The jungle trembled under his newfound ambition. His once lethargic body, ravaged by alcohol, grew lean and muscular, his eyes burning with a ferocious hunger for control. His target, the Mandrill Empire, a powerful and proud group of primates who ruled the jungle. Babu, now consumed by his lust for domination, declared war on them. The conflict that followed was brutal. Babu's army, though smaller in number, was merciless. He led countless raids, committed unspeakable atrocities, and devised cruel tactics that brought the mighty Mandrill Empire to its knees. War crimes? They were many. Babu orchestrated the destruction of entire villages, plundered resources, and used psychological terror to break the spirits of his enemies. The once hopeless monkey had become an evil dictator, feared and hated by all who knew his name. His will to power had eclipsed his former despair, but at a great cost. His soul, if he ever had one, was lost. When the final battle ended and the Mandrill Empire lay in ruins, Babu sat on his crude throne, overlooking the devastation he had wrought. He was now the ruler of the jungle, the conqueror of worlds. Yet, as the days passed, he felt something dark creep back into his chest, a familiar emptiness. Even with all the power in the world, he could not escape the futility of life. One day, as he sat contemplating his empire, Babu reached into a bowl beside him, took a single peanut, and popped it into his mouth. As he chewed thoughtfully, something strange happened. He stood up, his body suddenly filled with a burst of energy, and without thinking, he executed a flawless backflip. When he landed, he let out a loud, triumphant screech. In a moment of wild, reckless abandon, he sauntered over to a human woman who had been captured during one of his raids. Without hesitation, he slapped her butt, eliciting a shocked gasp. Then, as if nothing had happened, he reached for a goblet of grape Kool-Aid that sat nearby and took a long, satisfying drink. Babu, the once depressed alcoholic, now a tyrant and war criminal, found himself in an absurd moment of satisfaction. The peanut, the backflip, the slap, all meaningless gestures, yet in them he had found a fleeting joy that no power or conquest had ever given him. The will to power had driven him to the heights of domination. But in the end, it was the small, senseless acts that made him feel alive. And so, Babu continued on, dictator, tyrant, and king of the jungle. but always chasing the next small, absurd thrill, knowing that true meaning would forever elude him.
Someone by the name of Rabid Waffles, who I actually know about because I did a video responding to one of their videos 2 years back, which we will explain later. They comment, Valerie Flowers is the best YouTuber. I'm his biggest fan. He really entertains me with his videos. What a guy.
Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original.